There you go.
All right. Well, Coach, just first of all, talk about coming back to the state of Texas, where you're from, and what this opportunity was like for you and why you came.
Obviously, Coach Gillispie had a lot to do with me coming back. I've always wanted to get back to Texas from Houston, and the Big East is great, and I played there and went to school there and worked for a great mentor and Coach Wright. The opportunity to come back and to Texas Tech and get something positive going was something I just couldn't refuse.
Talk about the difference of player. Obviously, you've been up in Villanova, you've been up in the Northeast for the past few years. What is the difference, I guess, in the player that you're going to be recruiting?
I don't know if there's a difference in player. The same type of players we had at Villanova, the same guys we want here, guys that can help us get to a Final Four, win a national championship. The geographic location may be a little bit different, but we're going to span the globe and try to recruit all over the world, and then spread the message of Texas Tech and try to get Red Raiders back on the map where they should be.
Coach Gillispie has described you as a recruiter. What would you say some of your best attributes are as a coach?
Any great recruiter, I wouldn't consider myself a great recruiter. I appreciate the sentiments from Coach, but the bottom line is you have to be a people person, and you have to work tirelessly at relationships, and you can't be afraid of the word no. And we just push through no, and we got to win them over. We got to be smarter than people, and we got to work tirelessly to create a positive image for Texas Tech and put our message, as I say again, spread our message and get it out there to the world that Texas Tech is going to come. We're going to be aggressive. Coach is going to come. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to get some players, and we're going to get it done.
I guess what's been your relationship like with Coach Gillispie, and I guess how did he make that contact with you?
The interesting thing is Coach Gillispie coaching. I was in camp when I was like 15 years old. At Houston Milby, I forget where. He was the assistant coach, I believe, at San Marcos, which was Southwest Texas State, which is Texas State now. So I've started then, and I used to be AAU coach in Houston for a couple years, and a couple players went to A&M, and we just kind of been keeping in contact. I've been following his career, he's been following mine. So it's always good in coaching to be able to come back and work for someone that you're familiar with. Oftentimes that's not the case. In this case, I've been very fortunate and blessed.
Coach Gillispie talked about recruiting tall players, long players. Well, I guess just talk more about that and what the kind of players you're going to bring to Texas Tech.
Again, we're going to try to recruit the same players that the best programs in the country recruit. Obviously, it may not look easy for us in the beginning, but we're going to, like I said, tirelessly go out and recruit, spread our message, and just outwork people. And we're going to win games. And once we win games, we just open the floodgates. And the bottom line is, and I always hear people say, well, they got to come to Lubbock. We got to get them to Lubbock. Lubbock's no different than going to UConn or going to a Syracuse. The bottom line is we have a great product we need to sell here, and we just need to provide exposure and, again, be smarter than everybody else and get them here and do some of the things that have been done before with the other programs and just get this thing moving in the right direction.
Chris, you say you want to recruit globally, but can you talk about roots here in Texas and how important it is to have a good relationship with people inside the state?
Absolutely. Obviously having I always say we want to build a fence around the state, but obviously we have other neighbors who recruit the state as well. Again, it's spreading our message and getting people. I've just been here a short while, and Coach and I always talk about all we have to do is once people see what's here, they'll want to come here. And the bottom line is there's nothing wrong with Lubbock. We just have to get them here, and get them to enjoy the campus. They're college students. They're not adults. And the college life here is great, and that's you have to get them here so they can experience that, and that's the first step, and that's what we're working on right now.
Talk about Chris Walker and what he brings to the staff.
Well, he's going to bring a lot. He already has been bringing a lot, and he's been here for a little bit, but Chris is a great person, number one. We're so excited to have him, and he's a native Texan, played at one of the most historic basketball programs in the state, Houston Milby. He was a great player and a great student there, chose to leave the state and had a great career at Villanova, and it's been all over the place as far as a coach. He's a great recruiter. He's a great coach. He's a great mentor to young people. We couldn't be more pleased to have him on our staff.
I guess just talk about him he's been described as a good recruiter. He basically just sold us here a couple minutes on going to take. Talk about him as bringing Texas kids here.
Yeah, he can get guys from anywhere. He had a great recruiting class at Villanova, and he was out of his area there, but he still did great. Some guys are special, and he's special, and it wouldn't matter where he's coaching. He's going to be able to get players to come there, and because he's going to believe in where he is, and he has, like you mentioned, he has a great, unique ability to. You're going to feel the passion that he has for a particular place and a particular program. He definitely has it here. He's not only a recruiter, though. Some guys get labeled as recruiters. He's not only a recruiter, he's a very, very, very good coach. And like I said before, he's made such an impact on the young people he's been around, and that's one of the factors as well. I said, hey, your number one job is to get players to come out here to help us win championships, and that's what he wants to do, number one. But every single time I walk through by his office, he's trying to take on another responsibility that a coach doesn't ever ask people to have to do, and so that just tells you that he's all bought into it. He's definitely, he could already be a head coach. He'll be a head coach in a very short time if he chooses to do so. He's already had some opportunities to do that. He wanted to be here at Texas Tech. He loves Lubbock already, and I'm sure he expressed that to you. And again, we couldn't be more happy to have him on our staff.
With his hiring, how much closer are you to filling that staff, and when do you want to have that staff in place?
I don't really have any timetable. You know, we're starting to move on some things, and our number one thing is always take care of the players, and I think we've done a really good job in doing that. The guys that are returning, the guys that are going to be coming in, almost our entire team is here. We'll finish that up hopefully next week by the 21st. I believe we'll have our entire team here on campus, either in the first summer term or awaiting the second summer term. So as far as that goes, that's been our priority. Players are always our priority. We'll fill out our staff as we go, but again, we're still in no rush.
You kind of talked about that at your introductory press conference. You want tall, long guys, and now you've got some of those guys on campus. How has it been since you first met with them and you've been practicing with them, and what the talent level's like?
Well, I really don't know. I mean, we were able to do, there's only 5 guys returning, and so we were able to do some things in the spring on a very, very limited basis, 2 hours per week, and you know, we weren't able to see that much. We saw probably more on tape as far as the returning players, as far as the returning players go. I'm excited about the incoming players. I mean, we're definitely not a finished product as far as roster goes or anything like we'll be in the future. I'm excited about the things that they've done to this point. They have a real awareness of how important academics is to me, and they got that message very, very clearly, and I think they possess some intangibles, but we haven't been able to see any of those guys, any of the new 8 guys play. So it'll be interesting to see how their adjustment works, and it takes some time, but we really won't know anything about that until after we start practice in the fall.
Can you talk about Chris and how they kind of complement each other, aside from the name thing?
Yeah, I don't know yet. You know, it's a work in progress always, and you know, I think the best staffs always they don't really care about what a title is or what their job responsibility may be or whatever. They just said, hey, this needs to be done, so let's do it. Best teams are the same way. You know, a guy might be labeled as a shooter, but if he doesn't defend, if he doesn't rebound, your team is not going to be as good as it could possibly be. The staffs I've been on, we've always had a great deal of admiration for each other, a lot of caring and a lot of love for each other. No different than any kind of team. That's why it takes me a little bit longer than just throwing a bunch of professionals together. I want to make sure that chemistry is going to be perfectly right for us, and I would assume everybody that we bring on staff, whether it's a guy just out of high school or just out of college trying to go into the coaching profession, or a veteran that's been around the game for a long time, they're going to have the same kind of attitude that, hey, we have a lot of work to do here. Let's be organized in our approach, but also whatever needs to be done, let's just get it done. So that'll be a work in progress as we go.
Coach, did you recruit Chris out of high school?
No, I was a high school coach at the time, but we go back to we were running some camps. I went to Southwest Texas State at the time. It's called Texas State now, and Coach Honey was his high school coach, who's a Hall of Famer. If he's not in the Hall of Fame, he deserves to be. At Houston Milby, he and another player to our camp, and I was working in camp, and that's where I first got to know Chris. They were by far the 2 best players in our camp, and I got to know him. I made him cut his light off at 11 o'clock at night at camp. So we've known each other for a long time. We recruited one of his players when I was at Texas A&M, B.J. Holmes, and he had signed with us, and we didn't get a chance to coach him, but Chris was very helpful in his recruitment, and so we go back either professionally or whatever for a long time.